Welcome along to another edition of Matchbook's Euro 2020 specials. An interesting couple of days at the Euros, joined as ever by Mr. Mark O'Haire at the bottom of the screen. If you're watching us now on this beautiful Monday morning, and the top of the screen, Mr. Adrian Clarke. An interesting weekend, gentlemen. We're going to obviously look at Tuesday and Wednesday's games today. If you want to check out Monday's games, that's on last week's show, so check it out on your preferred podcast app or on our YouTube channel. Mark O'Haire, to you first, sir. A couple of interesting market moves last weekend. The Belgium one in particular was very interesting. We thought Belgium, previewing that game on Wednesday, we thought at 1.75 it was a bet. Then I opened Twitter on, Saturday morning. They're heading towards 2.1, and we know how the result went. But what the hell was that about? Who was backing Russia? Because it was obviously a really persistent move on them.
Yeah, I was scratching my head on Saturday morning because I was thinking, what information don't we know? Because we knew that Hazard and De Bruyne were unlikely to play. We knew that Witsel was not going to play. So it was whether Romelu Lukaku might have been missing. But I think I've kind of solved the puzzle because we've had 4 days of football now, and basically the home teams have seen a lot of market support. Started on Friday in the curtain raiser. Italy were backed into a sort of 1.4-ish from 1.6. Yeah. Denmark saw huge support before the game against Finland. And then Russia as well, obviously the drift on Belgium. And there was probably someone else who I've probably forgotten about. But it was, I think that's kind of what's been happening here. The market kind of adjusting to suggest that home advantage is back to being sort of pre-pandemic levels, which I kind of disagree with, to be honest. We've got an interesting game to talk about from Hungary, where basically it's the first game with supposedly a full capacity crowd. So interesting to see where the market goes in that. But that's the kind of what I've sort of taken out of what we've seen from the first weekend in terms of market moves, particularly in that Belgium game.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder, was it people kind of believing that Russia would turn up like they did in 2018, but brand new tournament. Adrian Clarke, your strategy this weekend, and I'll be honest, I'll take the blame for maybe talking ourselves out of this one, but you personally liked Italy and under 3.5. And you also, there was another little gem there as well, the draw in the Switzerland-Wales game, and was it under 2.5 as well? I thought that was a lovely one. So you're taking that kind of approach this tournament, because there are obviously, like Mark said, a lot of short favourites here.
Yeah, I think this could be the way to go if you've got a strong fancy for a certain team, but the price is too short. Just couple it up with an unders or an over. Those two came in for me personally. I was delighted. It was a great start to the competition. We also had, I think, Belgium an over 1.5. which just stretches that out a little bit more. We'd even talked about Belgium plus 2.5. So, I think that's where the value is in this tournament. And a few selections that I've got today sort of follow on from that theme.
Yeah, and don't forget those markets are available at Matchbook.com. They're very sportsbooky kind of market, but they have been on the site there for the last couple of months. And I suppose, guys, look, Italy were obviously probably the big takeaway from Friday night. And we've noticed even at Matchbook.com there has been a bit of concerted move. It's a bit like after the horses bolted slightly, but Italy are down to 8.0. And if you do want to get involved in the Matchbook outright markets with the Euros, we have a pretty good welcome offer on site currently. And I don't know about you guys, but basically I have 2 or 3 positions, and this offer runs throughout the tournament, and it's a 20% boost on your winnings for Euro 2020, and you have to use the bonus code INSIGHTS2020 when signing up to avail of that offer. Full terms and conditions are available at Matchbook.com under the promotions tab. You can check those out there. But look, I think we're all going to take away something different the next couple of days, and we're going to start with France and Germany here, and this is going to be a big one as well in a sense. But let's have a look at the betting first of all. And currently you can back France 2.84. You can back the Germans at 2.9. Germany at home in this one, of course, in the Allianz Arena in Munich. The draw available at 3.22. The main handicap line, it's look as a draw, no bet market, obviously, with the betting being so tight. You can back the French there 1.93, Germany at 2.0 even money. And 2.25 is the total, and it's slightly shaded towards the over. All right. Adrian Clarke, talk to me about this one. It's a potentially a really good game. But Mark said it there regards the home team getting a bit of support there, and you could very easily see this game going off as a pick-em. Hard to separate the sides, I suppose, and the betting incorporates that. But is there a way in terms of a goals angle?
I think so, yeah. I mean, Germany's home form is actually not that strong. They don't lose many, but they've picked up a lot of draws. So if there is a late move on Germany to win this game, it will slightly surprise me, because the form line is that they've won 4 of their last 9 at home, 4 draws and 1 defeat. So yeah, not brilliant on their own patch. Don't keep many clean sheets in that run of 9 games. Just 2 shutouts for Germany. So even at home, they tend to leak goals. For me, Germany might be a little bit like the Netherlands last night. What a game that was, by the way. And be good to watch. Attack being the best form of defence. That's the kind of team I expect Germany to be in this tournament. So I think they're capable of scoring goals, but equally capable of letting them in. They've scored in 12 of their last 13, Germany. So they're always worth a goal. France, we know about France. We know how strong they are. Brilliant away from home as well, 1-9. Yeah. Their last 10, and quite a number of shutouts there for France. But they're not infallible themselves. You know, every now and again there's a little bit of a wobble from them in terms of the results. So France, Germany, it's a cracking game. Can't wait to watch it. For me, the angle would be, because of Germany's style and because of France's quality, both teams to score is a good market here. But also have a think about the halftime draw. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is that we've had 7 games until this point, and in 6 of those 7, it's been a draw at halftime. So 6 of 7 so far have been level at the interval. It's the second half where we've seen things sort of explode into life, and 2 giants colliding. A lot of respect between these 2 nations, between the 2 managers. It's the right side of evens at the moment, 2.02 on the halftime draw. So that's one to think about. But for me, it's a both teams to score type game.
Yeah, Mark, and I think you're in agreement here on the both teams to score. I'll get your thoughts also on the halftime draw, but take it away. What's your thoughts on the BTTS? In a full agreement with Adrian on this one.
Yeah, that's my way in as well. I think on our first show, we talked about the first round of group games being quite tight traditionally and quite low scoring, but actually both teams to score has copped in 49% of first group games going back to 1996, which is quite a decent starting point, higher than I expected it to be anyway. And I know people can say this is the group of death and there's an acceptance that neither team will want to lose, but and probably pick their battles elsewhere, really, which is understandably so. But I just think the attitudes of both play into a goals angle here. Chuck in a few defensive doubts as well. Obviously, France are the strongest suit. Benzema possibly being fit, Giroud otherwise, but you've got Griezmann and Mbappe, and they've scored in 17 of the last 19 competitive games. They've got fantastic records over the last 5 years against elite teams, against Argentina, Belgium, Croatia, Germany, Netherlands, Portugal, and Uruguay. 12 wins, 3 draws, and 1 defeat. So immediately the draw no bet looks an angle, the +0 on the Asian handicap at 1.92. We know Deschamps tends to prefer pragmatism over style. I just think this kind of lends itself a little bit towards France because Germany will take the initiative. They will look to attack, and they are so dithering, you should probably say, defensively. Lowe's kind of and ahed over whether it's a 3-man defence, a 4-man defence. Yeah. Looks like he's sticking with a 3-4-3, but systematically and individually, they've made plenty of errors in the past 3 years. It's very difficult to trust them defensively. But going forward, you've got the likes of Muller, Gnabry, Sane, Werner, Havertz. They've got so much potential in that team. Goretzka missing is a big blow, but I was impressed with their performance against Denmark, a strong defensive Denmark in a warm-up game. They've only failed to score once at home competitively since 2007. That was actually against France in the Nations League, but they generated 1.5 XG in that game. And for all France, is we laud them as being a fantastic squad, wonderful individuals, defensively very strong. Actually, 13 competitive games against Croatia, Sweden, Ukraine, Turkey, Portugal, Netherlands, and Germany in the past 3 years. They've only kept 4 clean sheets and average 1.3 XG against as well. So, they're not completely watertight themselves. I think they'll be happy to play on the break. They've got the pace, they've got the ability. I think they'll probably control it a little bit better than Germany. So I'd kind of side with them, but certainly the both teams to score angle was the one that first appeared off the screen to me.
Yeah, let's put in BTTS there 1.85, and Adrian, also you made a good case there for the halftime draw at 2.04 currently available match. And it's funny about that, Goretzka being missing. Not bad having Gundogan or someone like Toni Kroos to come into the centre. And I think the debate is raging in Germany this week about where to play Joshua Kimmich. is if it's a 3-4-3, he's going to be on the right. And everyone, if you watch him with Bayern Munich the last couple of seasons, he is bang on in the middle of the field. That's a big blow there. So it'll be interesting to watch the team news. Let's move back to Tuesday afternoon. Hungary against Portugal. This is the first game on Tuesday, 5 p.m. kickoff in Bucharest. Current betting here at Matchbook.com. You can back Hungary at 9.5. Portugal is short, not that surprising, 1.48. The draw available at 4.5. Hungary getting 1.25 start on the Asian handicap at 1.81. And the total is 2.5, shade towards the under. And Mark O'Haire, if you want to get with Portugal in this one, I think we're going to have to basically incorporate what Adrian said there regards coupling the bets. And that's your angle here, Portugal and under 3.5, currently available at 2.08 at Matchbook.com. Why so, sir?
Well, Hungary are weaker than they probably want to be for this competition, unfortunately. Their most influential forward player, Dominik Szoboszlai, who actually got them to the tournament, is out injured, hasn't played since January, since making his move to Germany. Without him, they're just lacking in the final third, unfortunately. Shalai and Salai are two very industrious and very, they'll work very hard, they'll work the channels, but they're lacking in terms of inspiration and ingenuity as well. And I think Portugal are probably one of the most stubborn defences to play against. You've got someone like Kleinsheier who can score spectacular goals from midfield, but apart from that, this is a workman-like team rather than a team blessed with individual excellence, which Szoboszlai did have. Obviously, the counter-argument is they've got a home crowd behind them, so it'll be really interesting to see which way the market goes here. But their strength is undoubtedly in the defence. The spine of Galassi and Orban, obviously we know from RB Leipzig, Adam Nagy as well in midfield, bit of a dog, bit of a workhorse. But they're missing Kalmar as well in central midfield. He was injured in March, which is a bit of a blow. We know Marco Rossi, the Italian coach, has got them very well organised, got them very difficult to beat. They've enjoyed one of their best unbeaten streaks for over 50 years under him in the past couple of years. And Portugal do look a little bit too short, obviously, to win the game. And I wouldn't be too keen on getting Portugal on side with a hefty handicap either. They've got this unbelievable unbeaten record, or not unbeaten, but they've only lost 4 times in competitive games and 56 under Fernando Santos. He's a man I really, really trust in knockout football, but not to overcome big handicaps in the group stage, as we saw in 2016, but even go back to his days with Greece as well. It's very much just get the job done and move on to the next game. So the squad has evolved. Clearly, they've got a huge amount of talent in the forward areas. The front four will be quite frightening, but I don't expect them to roll over Hungary with like 4 or 5. So I think Portugal to win under 3.5 goals. If you can get that around even money, which is what it was trading around, I think that's a fantastic angle in.
Yeah, and Adrian, you're kind of coming at this from a very similar angle. Your tip in this one is Portugal to win to 0, and that's currently available at 2.2 at Matchbook.com. Yeah,
look, it's either or, isn't it? It's not a great deal of difference between those two bets. Portugal, for all the reasons Mark has outlined, have a tremendous defensive record, and I wouldn't expect them up against a workman-like, but man for man, Hungary are not in the same league as the Portugal players as individuals, and Portugal are away from home are really stubborn. We saw that in the warm-up game. They got a good 0-0 against Spain. It was a really competitive match. They're unbeaten actually in 7 on the road. They kept clean sheets in Spain and in France not that long ago. So you think, well, they're more than capable of keeping a clean sheet against Hungary, and surely with the firepower, Ronaldo, Jota, Bruno Fernandes, etc. There's so many of them. You would expect them to score at least 1 or 2 in the game. So look, Portugal under 3.5 is a great angle. My suggestion is Portugal to 0. Might get slightly more value, but then you've got the risk of the 2-1 or killing you there. So we'll see. But I'm happy to go with Mark's shout. But Portugal,
I think the Portugal under 3.5. I don't have it to my head, but I think it covers the 4 of the first 5 correct score markets as well, which is. Obviously, you get the 2-1 onside just in case. But small
to save or 2.08.
Yeah. And Hungary aren't awful at the back. They're not an open team, as Mark said. Even though they might be a little bit outclassed man for man, they'll be driven on by a big home crowd, so that will make them more competitive. Then they've had 3 clean sheets in their last 4, so they're not a side that's accustomed to shipping a lot of goals. So no, I can absolutely get on side with Mark's selection there. You've got to fancy Portugal.
Yeah, and hopefully there'll be a bit of money come for Hungary. I don't know if we can see it, but who knows? We might get a better price. But 2.08 Portugal and under 3.5 at the moment. All right. By the way, guys, you're watching this. We have a lot of tips coming, a lot of shows coming out this week. Check out insights.matchbook.com. All the bets will be recapped there. So if you do miss anything within the show, check out insights.matchbook.com for that. Finland versus Russia is next. So we're through all the first group games. We're on to the second group games now. And Group B, Wednesday, 2 o'clock in St. Petersburg. Finland currently available at 6.2. Russia there at just under 1.7. Best of luck to you if you're back in Russia at the moment, 1.7. The draw available at 3.88. Finland getting 3/4 of a goal start on the Asian handicap at a good odds against 2.03. And the total is it's a low one. It's our lowest of the tournament so far. Main line 1.5, and it's shaded towards the under. So Mark O'Haire, Wednesday afternoon. This is one I'm going to probably just stay working. I mean, might have it on in the background maybe. I'll try to watch most games if I can. But talk to me about that price. I know. Look, I gave Austria North Macedonia a bit of a bad rap. It's the only game that's gone over 3.5 goals so far. So this could be a potential cracker. But Mark, that price with Russia, I mean, like, what are you making it? Is that almost this one like that they have to win or something, or are we like Finland? All right, look, obviously there was different parameters within that Denmark game. We all know what happened. Then the second half, obviously Denmark weren't anywhere with it, but like Finland looked organised. They almost had they struck me as maybe the Iceland kind of genre team of 2016. Did you kind of get that sense with them? There's nothing flashy, but they looked so well organised.
Yeah, I don't want to be sort of tooting the trumpet or anything, but it's kind of what we expected from Finland. They were going to be ultra, they were going to be difficult to beat, they were going to be very organised. I think we saw that. I think it's keeping it just football based. They were fortunate to beat Denmark. It have to be said.
Yeah.
Had one shot, maybe 2 shots, 30% of the ball. Denmark had 22 shots, missed a penalty, and obviously gave away quite a preventable goal, which Michael normally saves. But you have to be impressed by Finland's organisation, their structure, the way they went about their business. Stephen Kenny, the Republic of Ireland coach, was bang on really when they played Finland twice in the Nations League. He said they're more than just an international team. They're much like a club team, not just in terms of the bond between the players and the fans and the coach, but in how they set themselves up and how they go about their business. Really, they're such a tight unit, and we saw that really because despite Denmark having 22 attempts and a penalty, the XG that Denmark generated was below 1.8, which is testament to Finland for keeping Denmark at bay and keeping them away from dangerous positions. So, I think they can be very competitive in this game against Russia. It's taking place in St. Petersburg, so clearly home advantage towards Russia, but it's only 200 kilometres from the Finnish border, so there'll be plenty of away fans in the stadium, you'd suggest. And then Russia, it's difficult to assess them really after the Belgium game. Defensively all over the place. There was no press, there was no energy like we saw from the World Cup. But they were slightly unfortunate with the opening goal. I thought that was really harsh to allow that, considering the offside rule. Injuries also disrupted their plans, Zhirkov and Kuzayev having to go off early as well. So it's hard to get a real read on them. We knew they probably regressed since the World Cup, but probably not to the extent of that, getting rolled over so easily by Belgium missing 3 of their best players. So Juba is still going to be a physical threat. Golovin, still expect more from him. Moranchuk and Cheryshev did their best, but it was pretty poor, wasn't it? So, I can't be back in Russia at 1.7 at all. And considering how the market has moved towards home teams so far, I wouldn't be too surprised if that dips a little bit further before kickoff, which is even greater for us because right now I like Finland with a goal start on the Asian handicap. You could get it around 1.74. I think Matchbook is slightly shorter, but I think there's margin in that. And I think if you do hold off, just in the case that the market does move towards Russia because of that home advantage, I think there will be wriggle room there to get Finland +1 onside at a decent price. I don't see Russia winning this game comfortably.
Yeah, there is a bit of margin there, so we will call it 1.74. And yeah, look, it's even if Finland lose by a goal, you still get your money back, so it's not a bad bet. And Adrian, Mark touching it there with Russia, and I know we don't want to read into everything in one game, but like Belgium, as good as they were, they're still only in second, third gear maybe max, and it was so comfortable for them.
Yeah, it was easy, wasn't it? Yeah, I wasn't overly blown away by Belgium at all in the game, but yeah, Russia, it was embarrassing how bad they were fractured when they didn't have the ball. The press was, as Mark highlighted, was embarrassingly bad. A couple would go, no one would follow, and they could just play through the lines.
Even the fans lost interest, didn't they, in the second half? There was no booing or whistling. They just
it was a shocking performance. It was a shocking. But for me, Juba and Golovin are the go-to guys, and I think that they are capable of hurting Finland potentially in the game. They showed a slight fragility, I thought, Finland to crosses into the box. A number of the Denmark chances came from headers inside the box. Huber obviously strong there, and maybe Denmark lacked a bit of craft, and Golovin has got that, and he'll get more of the ball in this game. I would imagine that Russia will monopolise the ball. And you've got to think about the context as well of the game. Finland, with 3 points in the bag, they know that one more gets them through to the knockout. And so I think they're going to set up. I mean, we know they're going to set up defensively, but they will absolutely play for the draw, in my opinion. So that would lean towards a really tight game, I would suggest. Like Mark, can't trust Russia on the back of that performance, even though I think Finland did ride their luck against the Danes. I can't back Russia, even though there's every chance they'll win. So for me, I would agree with Mark. I think back a tight game here. Finland plus a goal, if you can get it at that good price, is an excellent one. I looked at Finland plus 3/4, which was 2.03, which odds against. So that's one angle. Or you can go in with the draw, which I think is 3.88, which is absolutely, like I say, what Finland will be playing for in this game. But yeah, hard game to call this one, because I can't see Russia being as bad again, and maybe Finland won't be quite as fortunate.
I must admit, I actually made a slight error when I was calling out that betting. The actual goal line is 2. That was actually Finland's. It was Russia's total we were looking at. The main line is 2, and it's 1.78 favourite towards the over. And again, look, it's going to be tough to see goals there in that one. And yeah, look, let's hope that the people who are backing Russia on Saturday back them again this week, and we just get an even better price.
Mate, look, I don't think it's available on Matchbook, but for those people that like to back red cards, I wouldn't be surprised if there'd be a red in this game. Finland were chucking some tackles in early doors in the game. I think they made 17 tackles. Russia made 23, which is really both on the high side. So I think these are two of the more aggressive teams in the competition. So maybe for those that like to go with bookings or possible reds, this might be the fixture for you.
If you ever want to buy into narratives too, if you look it up, there's plenty of history, historically wise, between Finland and Russia as well. So I don't know if that play much on the players' minds, but you never know with these things that they do. They hear it from everywhere, and they'll be well up for this shortly. Right, let's move on. Turkey, Wales, Wednesday, 5:00, and this potential to be a good game. And Adrian Clarke, start with you. This one first. 2.46. You can back Turkey. Wales 3.42. The draw available at 3.25. Wales getting a quarter of a goal start on the Asian handicap of 1.882 again is the total, slightly shaded towards the under. And Adrian, what are you thinking with this one? This game's in Baku again, so I presume Wales stayed out there. Turkey have to travel. Look, Turkey were one of your back to lay angles, but I mean, they didn't show up on Friday night, and we were wondering, like, would it be Italy that may be kind of stifled by the pressure? But it looked very much to be Turkey. But is there a bounce back in them in this one, though?
Yeah, look, I think they were clearly outplayed. But I think that Italy would have suffocated the majority of teams in this competition with that performance. I think it was absolutely outstanding from Mancini's team. And yeah, I wouldn't write off Turkey on the back of that. Yes, they were poor. They didn't offer a great deal, but most of that was down to the excellence of Italy. I thought on and off the ball, they were tremendous. The best team I've seen so far in the competition. Burak Yilmaz still looked sharp when he had those opportunities, rare forays down the sides, and I think he'll get more joy in this game. I fancy Turkey strongly in the game, I have to say. I wasn't impressed at all with Wales until they went behind, and then they started to play. And it was a lovely set piece goal. I really enjoyed it from Kiefer Moore. Lovely cross from Joe Morrell. But over the course of that 90 minutes, they were second best to Switzerland, and I believe that Turkey are at least the equal of Switzerland, and this might be a game where they have more of the ball, Turkey, and they might start a more adventurous 11. I would hazard a guess that Cengiz Ünder will come in, maybe one or two other more creative players, because it will be a different kind of challenge. They'll need to make the running, I think, Turkey. And yeah, I just think that they've got more than enough to beat Wales, who didn't blow me away. I thought Mepham was poor. Be surprised if he played again. Rodon didn't convince. Connor Roberts, we saw him get found out for the goal at the corners. They were really weak and shaky, weren't they? From set pieces, Wales on the day. So I think there's a lot of chinks in the armoury for Rob Page's side, and the conditions as well. Wales, you would think, they've not had to travel. They've stayed in Baku, but Baku is blisteringly hot. I've seen images of them training there in the heat today. That can sap you. It really could. And I think it's almost an advantage just coming in and out of Baku this time of the year. And Turkey obviously are probably more used to the hot conditions. So for me, Turkey at the price, I think it's been nipped in from 2.47 to 2.46. And that's good value. If you want to do one of my coupling bets, which I think I will take on personally, is Turkey and under 3.5. Last time I looked, you can get that for 3.0. Turkey and under 3.5. You don't see a lot of goals. You fancy Turkey. That for me is the pick.
Yeah, on the Turkey and under 3.5, even bigger, 3.4, nearly close to 5-2 on that one, Adrian. So yeah, even better.
Good job I didn't press go.
No, wait. No, just wait a small bit. Yeah, 3.4 you can currently get at matchbook.com. Mark O'Haire, you're liking a goals angle in this one.
Yeah. Fascinating listening to Adrian's description now on the game, because I don't have a huge view on either team, to be honest. Clearly Turkey are better than what we saw against Italy. I do think the travel from Rome to Baku is an issue, but they do have an extra day's rest to probably get over that anyway, so that's kind of evened itself out. They were poor all round, really. I was really unimpressed, but I mentioned before the Italy game, they can be quite erratic, can be quite unpredictable. When they're good, they're very good. When they're bad, they can be very bad. But Wales, I don't see them being probably quite as bad as Adrian did. I think they played the conditions, really. I was surprised with the team sheet, in fairness. They went with quite an attacking lineup, which I didn't think helped. But Switzerland, expect them to dominate the ball and the territory. But they didn't really open up Wales a huge amount of times. It was only really Breel and Bolo who had an inspired second-half performance, really, that kind of troubled them, really. Otherwise, it was just set pieces and dead ball situations. But I think what's interesting about this game is just the way the group is now set up and the jeopardy that's involved with Turkey's goal difference of -3. It means losing here or not getting a good result is unthinkable, really, for their prospects to go through. So they know that a point is the absolute minimum they can get, whereas Wales obviously can't bank on Italy beating Switzerland and can't bank on Italy arresting players when they've already qualified next week in Rome. So it's a fascinating conundrum. I do think it breeds goals because it's desperation rather than the pragmatism. Second group games, we know increasing goals per game goes up to 2.43. 79% in the European Championships have featured a minimum of 2 goals. Overs jumps from 34% to 47%. BTTS increases, draws reduce. I think that's probably buying into the jeopardy angle a little bit here, but I'm treating this a little bit like a second leg knockout tie, where the not necessarily underdog, but the home team has to come out and get something. And for all Wales' negative goal trends over the past 3 years, which will be easily looked at, 55% of their competitive games have featured at least 2 goals in that time. 75% of Turkey's as well. I think whenever the line gets quite low, like it is now, I think if you allow for a little bit of margin there, you can get over 1 3/4 goals onside at 1.7 or above. I know it's a short price, I know it won't appeal to many people, but it does to me because 2 goals either way, and I'm making a half-sex profit immediately. And considering the first goal, whenever it arrives, is just going to add so much jeopardy to this game. If Wales can get it, Turkey are going to go absolute nuts in search of a way back into this competition. And if Turkey get it themselves, then Wales have to start playing to get back into the competition themselves. I think that's why Group A is fascinating to me, because outside of Italy, it's so competitive. I think for me, it's quite difficult to pick a team. But if you do like Turkey, like Adrian is, absolutely get involved in that price, because Switzerland went off close to evens against Wales. Pre-tournament, Turkey and Switzerland were rated very, very similarly by the market. So there's been an overreaction there to Turkey's defeat to Italy, which obviously allows a bit of margin there to get Turkey on side.
Yeah. Just one quick stat, Sully, that I rattled it off in our previous show in regards to Wales' sort of lack of firepower. It's now 13 of 14 games where they've not scored more than 1 goal. So they're highly unlikely to get more than 1 here, Wales. But it's whether you fancy Turkey to get the two, and I do. So both bets appeal to me. I think Turkey or Mark's goals.
The only other thing I was going to say as well, which I forgot, they obviously had to play in Baku at I think 5 p.m. local time or 4 p.m. local time. This is an evening game, so it will be hot, but it hopefully will be a little less straining on the players.
Yeah, 2-1 Turkish win would be quite good here. So yeah, let's take Turkey at 2.46, which is the Adrian selection, and over 1.75. And we say 1.75 on site at Matchbook.com. That'll appear as 1.5/2.0. Half your bet is on 1.5, and half your bet is on 2.0. So like Mark said, if it lands on 2, we guaranteed profit one way or the other. And if it lands on 3, you get absolute full profit, 100% profit on that. All right, let's move on to Turkey's conquerors on Friday night, Italy. And how good were Italy, like Adrian said, and you currently back them here just over 1.63. You can back the Swiss at 6.8, the draw available at 4.05. Switzerland getting 3/4 of goals start at good odds against their 2.17, and the total is 2.25, shade towards the under at 1.9. Mark O'Haire, and yeah, look, I mean, it's you don't want to read too much into one game, but such was the performance, such was the pressing intensity, such was the occasion that so many teams in that situation with, Bocelli beforehand, with Nessendorm and all these kind of things, and teams can kind of crumble under that. But Italy, even when, like I said, when they're 3-0 up, chasing and harassing Turkey as if it was a 0-0 game, and this is why they've been the biggest mover over the weekend on the outright market, that everyone wants to be with them. But how impressed were you with them? Would it have been kind of a case of, you're like, whoa, did I maybe underestimate you? I knew you were kind of hot enough on them, but like maybe even you were kind of maybe just slightly underestimated.
Possibly. I thought they were very impressive. Hard not to be impressed. Nice to see them obliterate all the nonsense stereotypes of Italian football while doing so as well, because they've been playing that way for 3 years under Mancini. Yeah. Just the superb sort of just the confidence really in the team about how they went about their business, and the belief in their game plan as well. It worked tremendously well individually. They all performed. I still have a niggling doubt over the unbeaten run, which we keep getting sort of chucked down our throats, and also this clean sheet streak as well, because look at who they've actually kept clean sheets against. You've got teams like San Marino involved in that as well. So I'm still leaving a little bit to be decided on Italy to go the distance, because I still think they haven't been hugely tested in that 3-year spell. But Switzerland is a passable test. There's more difficult teams to play than Switzerland right now. They've got the days less rest in their legs as well. They played Friday, Switzerland played Saturday. Switzerland had the 5-hour flight across 2 time zones in their legs as well. Very hot game as well, as we talked about in Baku. Will take a bit of recovery really. And I didn't think they were that great against Wales, in all honesty. Yes, they had the possession. Yes, they had the territory. But what did they really fashion from open play? Bar and Bolo, really. I thought Shaqiri was quite ineffective, bar set pieces. Seferovic, well, we knew he was an issue for Switzerland in attack in terms of the final third finishing opportunities. So changes might be likely here, but I think they'll shift in their approach from being sort of possession-centric and hopefully an attack-minded team to a bit more containment, a bit more pragmatism here. They do have the talent, but I just think they'll be well aware that losing to Italy, it's not going to be game over, but it will put them in a very difficult position going back to Baku for their last game. So I guess the age-old issue from a Switzerland perspective is where the goal's going to come from, where's the creativity going to come from. I think that's lacking right now. So kind of going back to the old faithful, which is what Adrian banked on in the opening night, Italy to win under 3.5 goals. Odds against really appeals. Cash came for them massively against Turkey on the opening night. They went down off 1.4. Quite a remarkable move. There's talk of a big syndicate in Asia. Went really, really big on them outright before the Turkey game and against Turkey as well, which probably shifted the market a little bit. So quite interested to see where this market goes. But as I said, Turkey and Switzerland were pretty much rated neck and neck before the tournament. So why not go back in on Italy in the same market at a better price to win this game? Because I wouldn't be too surprised if Italy go off a lot short of the 1.6.
Adrian, I think you're in full agreement on this one.
Yeah, rinse and repeat. Yeah, no, I'm all over Italy and under 3.5 goals. Yeah, we've waxed lyrical about Italy. All of them played well. I thought Spiazzola was excellent at fullback. Barella, Jorginho, all these guys. It was a terrific performance. And I think that when Switzerland look to play out from the back, they like Turkey, will find it hard to get out of their own half. They might go a bit longer, but it depends, doesn't it, if they stick with 2 up front or whether they stay a little bit more pragmatic. If they go with 2 up front, they've got that outlet, haven't they? They can miss out the press by clipping it higher into Embolo, into Seferovic. But we'll have to wait and see what they do. For me, Italy vastly superior, and Switzerland weren't good themselves at defending set plays, and Italy, I think, have got a lot of quality over those situations. So it wouldn't surprise me if Italy were to score from a corner or a wide free kick in this game. So yeah, for all the reasons that Mark has outlined, Italy again under 3.5. I mean, it was the first time that they'd scored 3 goals at the Euros, which was a remarkable stat, wasn't it? I was unaware of that previously. You wouldn't imagine that they would go and do that again and score 4 or 5 in this game. So Italy and under 3.5 is a great shout.
You were kind of sweating towards the end of that game too, like the fact that there was a few minutes to go, and I think Turkey had a chance with about 2 or 3 minutes to go, and Cellini made a block, and honestly, the way they celebrated that, exactly. But the way they celebrate defending like that, it reminded me back to 2006 with Nesta and Cannavaro and these guys, and they just there's that kind of mindset there at the moment potentially. The old dogs, Bonucci and Cellini, hard to beat them. All right.
I mean, Embolo, if he gets the service and he plays like he did against Wales, he might give those old stages 1 or 2 issues. But I just don't see him getting many touches.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Yeah. Let's do a quick bet recap before we get into best bets. Like I said, you can check out all of these recaps on insights.matchbook.com throughout the tournament. So in case you miss a show, we won't hold it against you. Check it out there at insights.matchbook.com. All right, France, Germany, the selection we have there is both teams to score at 1.85. Hungary versus Portugal, Portugal and under 3.5 at 2.08, which you can find those bets at matchbook.com. Finland, Russia, Finland plus a goal at 1.74. Love that one. Really like that one. And even like we said, if Finland lose by a goal, you get your money back. Turkey to beat Wales, 2.46. And within the same game, over 1.75 at 1.73. Italy, Switzerland, as we just said there, Italy and under 3.5, 2.12. Best bets, Mark O'Haire, of those 5 games, what's your best bet of the lot?
I'm going to take the Azzurri and under 3.5 goals, Italy against Switzerland in the latter game, just because it was a toss-up between themselves and Portugal, but Italy are in Rome, aren't they? So it's a no-brainer.
You stole this one from Adrian. I love that. Adrian, you're allowed to say the same thing here because we did a small bit of pre-planning on this. We do actually plan for these things. Do you want to just jump in this one as well because that was the original? Yeah,
but my best bet would be Italy and under 3.5 goals. It's one that served me well on match day 1. I'm more than happy to go with it again. My number 2 would have been Turkey on the nose to beat Wales. I'm just quite confident that they'll show bounce back ability.
Yeah. Oh, bounce back, Bill. We haven't used that for a while, like that one. Italy and under 3.5 is the consensus there at 2.12. Maybe back and no, because I would suggest that money will come for Italy throughout the week. We're back on Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock, previewing Thursday and Friday's games. Check that out. My thanks to Adrian, my thanks to Mark. Enjoy the Euros today on Monday, enjoy it on Tuesday, enjoy it on Wednesday, and we'll be back, as I said, at 11 o'clock on Wednesday. Bye for now.